Welcome to InterPartyConflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Gabe.
And my name is Jeff.
And we're going to answer your questions today. But first, Jeff.
Yes, Gabe.
How are you doing today?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. So yesterday, you and I, well, you for a little bit, but mainly me,
right.
We had our first Roll20 session with our red tier patrons.
Woo!
Yes.
Yeah, I had to step out for a good portion of it. But but it seemed like everybody had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. So we have a Patreon in case you are just tuning in or whatever. We've had one for a few weeks now. And our top tier patrons, our red tier patrons, which give $10 or more a month, can take part in our once a month we'll have a role-playing game over Roll20.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's D&D 5th edition. Eventually, I would like to branch out into other role-playing games.
Sure.
But for the time being, I figured I would run an adventure that I was familiar with. So I started running at least the first adventure from the Age of Worms adventure pack.
The Whispering Cairn.
The Whispering Cairn. It's a very, very good adventure. The players got a bit sidetracked, I would say. The adventure kind of went completely off the rails. I don't want to say anything bad. Not only because I know that the people who played in it are going to be listening, but also because I don't mean to discourage any particular play style.
No, yeah, absolutely
but
not.
I will say one of our patrons, I'll refer to him simply as Jom.
Just call him out.
He sent me an email, or when I first told everybody, like, hey, we're going to be playing on this day at this time. He asked me, and to his credit, he asked me, hey, I was planning on trying out this character that I've been thinking about, and he's a little crazy. Is that okay? So again, he asked first.
Yes.
Now, of course, when I read that, I was immediately like, oh, this was a mistake. I'm joking. No. But I said yes. As long as your character is going to, engage in the adventure and everything. As long as your character isn't just going to, I don't know, just be crazy and that's his whole thing.
Right, yeah.
I guess is what I meant by that. And so anyway, we're playing this thing. The characters in this town, they're sent to go look for like historical artifacts. I'm hoping that they'll eventually go towards the tombs in the mountains and so on, which is where they eventually ended up at the end of the session. But then one thing led to another, and next thing they know, they're killing guards and running away and hiding. And
goodness.
I don't know. It was not my choice of where they went. However, hey, it happens. That's the game. That's what I signed myself up for. I have no problem with how it went. We were, everybody still had a good time.
Yes.
That was the important thing.
Right, of course.
Yes.
And, it makes for an exciting first adventure.
It does. It was definitely a memorable one. And it was my first time using Roll20.
Yeah.
And Roll20 is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's like it. If you want to use like every little detail, like every little tool of it, it can get kind of complicated.
And you have to do a lot of prep work.
There's a lot of prep work, like if you're doing like full grid and map and stuff like that, it's a kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just nice having like the little chat log. So, like the little chat log and the dice rolling and just having something to like, it's just a grid to draw on if you're just trying to describe something, or you were pulling in like pictures of the characters and the NPCs and stuff. It's definitely useful. It's just like dealing with character sheets and like character sheets within the browser and maps and monsters and things like that within the browser. It does take some prep work. In a lot of cases, you'll have to like put everything on the screen all at once at first, and then like black it all out for the other players.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's tricky. Skylar's trying to get used to using it because she's going to be using it for running her and her friend's campaign. But no, overall it's what D&D needs
very much. Yeah.
Because like, as time goes on, people get more and more busy and less time to play. So, and in this case, like, we managed to get a lot of people together, but like, it'll still be hard to get, our patrons together every month. Like, it's not going to be, without difficulty. So
yeah, and like my work schedule changed right around the time when we had our game. So like from now on, we won't be able to play on the day that we played this time. So I don't know. But yeah, we'll be able to, like, I mean, Justin from Crit Academy, he lives a couple hours from us, but Jom doesn't live anywhere near us as far as I know. I don't even know where he lives, but I don't believe it's anywhere near us.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we could play with him over the internet, you know, that's really cool. That's a really cool thing that we can do.
For sure.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun last night. I am looking forward to trying to continue that next time we play.
Yeah. And I mean, heck, you know, I've been toying with the idea of doing some DMing myself. So maybe when there's a time, you know, when everybody can get together at one day, like, you know, I could probably do, you know, Saturdays when you know, when you're working or something like that. So.
Sure. Yeah. If you want to, we can set that up.
Yeah, I'll try and come up with something. I have a few ideas I've been coming up with for storylines.
Sure. All right. So Jeff, I want you to imagine that you are going over to your grandma's house.
Okay.
Sorry. You have living grandparents, correct? I hope I'm not ripping open a wound with this.
I have living grandparents.
Okay, cool. So you go over to your grandma's house. And you're just going to, like, I don't know, pick something up or drop something off or whatever. You're not going to be staying for a while. But you walk into her house and you glance into the kitchen while you're waiting for her, and you realize that she has this, like, suit of armor, this super tacky looking suit of armor hanging on the wall. And then you notice next to it, she's got, like, a folding boat or something. One of those magic items that it's like, what in the who would ever need this?
Sure.
What is going on here? Why do you have an apparatus? Grandma, why do you have an apparatus of Qualish in your bedroom? Why do you have all of this stuff? And she says, oh, I saw it and I bought it. It was fun. And you're thinking someone is taking advantage of this woman. So you pick up the TV remote and you turn on the TV and you realize why she bought all this stuff. Do you know what channel the TV is on?
What was that?
The Dragon's Hoard Shopping Network.
It's just like a red dragon, like cutting it.
Red dragon's claws pointing at things.
Right, or just cutting a tomato, then a tin can, and then a tomato again.
This Vorpal sword cuts the tomato so easily.
Very good.
Yes. All right, so our item today is an RPG Superstar item that I got from Paizo.com. So this item was created by Chris Newton, who was I don't believe won, but at least made it past the first round. So this item is the Gown of Many Graves. Ooh. This is it's a Pathfinder item, so it's going to refer to Pathfinder stuff. All of these refer to Pathfinder stuff a little bit, but it is has a moderate conjuration aura, caster level 9th, so on and so on. This funereal gown of night black lace wraps the body like a sable spiderweb. On misty or foggy nights, the gown's wispy train seems to diffuse into the darkness. As often as she desires between dusk and dawn, the wearer can move between marked earthen graves, as with tree stride, sinking into one and emerging into the surface of any other within 1,000 feet as a full round action. If a grave contains an empty coffin, the wearer can emerge into the coffin rather than atop the grave. As with tree stride, the wearer may choose to remain inside a grave rather than emerging. However, if dawn breaks or if anything disturbs the soil, the wearer must emerge. Once per night, the wearer can make a single stride to a marked earthen grave up to 900 miles away. She need not know the grave's location, but must know the name of the creature interred within.
Cool.
So, I think this is an awesome item.
Yeah, this is really cool.
So it's like tree stride. With tree stride, you can like basically go into a tree and come out another tree. You can like teleport between trees.
Right.
So this lets you do that, but with graves.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
That is really cool. That's some cool like Dracula stuff.
Yes.
You know?
And then the little details about like if there's an empty coffin, you can just go into the coffin.
Right.
That's so cool. Such a nice little touch.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just that seems just like that's definitely a cool thing. You end up in a graveyard or something somewhere. Like, hey, you can teleport around that. Or, it's a really cool item for a vampire or something to have.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
if you come across a graveyard and there's like a vampire or something in it, it's a really cool item for that monster to have.
Yeah.
And like the players aren't going to know how to, like, it's like, how's this guy, like, is this vampire using like dimensional door or something? What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And then like, it escapes and you go and you're like miles away in another graveyard and that same vampire shows up and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah. And I like how, so once per night you can basically like teleport via grave, which is really cool. I love, you don't need to know its location. You just have to know the name of the person buried in the grave. That's so cool.
That's really cool. Cause like you just need to know people who have died.
Yeah.
It's like you're just like thumbing through the obituaries or something like that. It's like, where do I want to go tonight?
Oh man, this guy over in Waterdeep died. I have been meaning to vacation in Waterdeep.
It's like, I hear they have really good fish there. Yes. Unlike the fish at Diamond Lake.
Oh yeah, the fish at Diamond Lake was very bad apparently. So I think this is a really fun item. I think the theming is just so cool. That's something I love about these RPG Superstar items, is that all of them have a very strong theme, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, they're usually pretty good with that.
Yeah.
It's either some like really unique mechanic, or they just go like, they go ham on the meme, or on the theme.
On the meme.
On the ham on the meme.
Yes. All right, so I think that'll do it for the Dragon's Horde, unless you had anything else. Okay, no. I think that'll do it for the Dragon's Horde. If anybody wanted to submit items for us to talk about, or questions for us to discuss, or stories for the funeral pyre, how would they do so?
They could send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com.
Yes. Now, before we go on, I just want to mention one more thing. We did another drawing for the Chapel on the Cliffs adventure from Goblinstone. So this is a free adventure that we will give out once per episode from creator Goblinstone. If you want to be entered into the drawing, all you have to do is send us an email with Chapel on the Cliffs in the subject line.
Yeah.
So the winner for this week is Oh That's Sketchy.
Oh, that's sketchy.
Yes. So That's Sketchy. You should be receiving an email pretty soon from Benoit over at Goblinstone. He will send you an email and get that adventure to you.
Awesome.
All right. So yeah, once again, just send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com with Chapel on the Cliffs in the subject line. And also, we have another patron.
Woo!
In fact, while we were in the middle of our Roll20 game last night, I got an email saying that we had another patron, and that is Jack. So we want to say thank you to Jack.
Yes, thank you, Jack. And Jack is
he's our fan. He came to our live show.
Right, yeah, we had a little live thing at the library. And
yes,
Jack showed up. So
yeah, that's really cool.
So thank you very much, Jack.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, he will hopefully be possibly be joining us in our next Roll20 session.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. So before we get to questions, I just want to tell everybody to go to Crit Academy, critacademy.com. It's another great podcast out there on the Crit Nation Fellowship. And also you can go to check out D&D Character Lab. It's another great podcast. They make characters and then pit them against each other.
Yeah, two great shows that have a lot of content that you can use for your game. So check them out.
All right. You want to get into some questions?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Cool.
All right. So we have two questions today that we think are very linked.
They're similar enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're ones I really want to talk about because they're kind of cool. One in particular is this one's from Frostbite185 on Reddit. Is necromancy evil?
Yes.
Sorry,
I wasn't answering the question. I was saying I was confirming that we have that. Yes.
All right. Hold on. And then our other question is from Herpity Derpity. That was also on Reddit, and is mercy killing something a good character would do?
Yes.
So these are two questions that tie greatly into alignment.
Yeah.
More specifically, like the morality of certain things.
Yeah.
An example for the necromancy one. I know in Eberron there was a faction or something that like viewed necromancy less as evil, more just a like sort of a inevitability, like a law of nature sort of thing.
Sure.
Like there was even it was like a motivational poster. I forget the name of the faction. It was like a race of elves or something like that. But
it wasn't the Blood of Vol, was it?
I
think
know.
That's something else. Anyway,
but it was like this motivational poster that was like, it's like like it was like military propaganda or something like that. It's like die for your country twice, like
Sure.
it's because like just this group of people were that's just you lived, you died, and then you got raised back from the dead using necromancy, and then you served your country or whatever as a zombie or whatever. That's just what you did.
Sure.
So like in that culture's eyes, necromancy isn't evil. It's just a way of life.
Yeah.
It's just
absolutely.
a way of unlife or whatever. It's just what happens. It's just, it's part of the culture. It's
just part of existence.
Yeah. So necromancy is typically seen as evil because in the normal like taboos of like most cultures, like everyone's afraid of death. So when you bring something back, like death is this big unknown. So when you bring something back from the dead, it's like, oh God, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
So so I would argue that no, necromancy is not evil. It is, I mean, it depends on it just depends on how your characters or how the NPCs or whatever like view necromancy,
Sure.
or view magic in general. Is magic a part of nature? Is it just a normal order of things, or is magic this mysterious thing that only hooded guys do?
Sure.
Are you gonna is there a wizard in every village that everybody knows and like talks to? Or is there a village, or is there a wizard that like lives like a hermit somewhere? It all depends on the world view of magic in general, and then more specifically necromancy.
Yeah. Now, so I will give an answer for each of these specific questions.
Sure.
But in general, I wanted to use this as an opportunity to just kind of talk, because we've talked about alignment in the past.
Yeah, for sure.
I mainly want to. I was in a discussion not too long ago that I think is an interesting topic that I want to talk to you about, and that topic is the question of whether alignment is absolute or whether it is perceived. And we'll get to that in a little bit. For now, I would agree that necromancy is not evil.
All right.
I think that it can be used for evil.
Absolutely.
In the same way that a sword can be used for evil, but a sword isn't evil in and of itself. Using a sword is not evil in and of itself.
Right.
If a person uses it for evil, then that person is committing an evil act, but they're not committing an evil act by using a sword or by using necromancy. They're committing an evil act by disrespecting someone's wishes for their body, or by killing a town with their loved one's corpses. What they do with those zombies is evil. What they're doing might be against the law. There's probably a law against grave robbing.
Gabe, zombies don't kill people. Evil necromancers do.
I mean, that's kind of true.
Right.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. The other question was, is mercy killing something that a good character would do? I think that similarly, the intent behind it, I think, has a good part of it. But more importantly, good characters sometimes do evil things. Evil characters sometimes do good things.
Right.
That doesn't mean that they're not good. That doesn't mean that they're not evil. So sure, a paladin in earlier editions would lose their powers or whatever if they stole something, for example.
Yeah.
But a lawful good character might steal if they feel they are justified in doing it, if they feel it is necessary for them to do so.
Right, yeah.
A chaotic evil person might see a wounded person on the side of the street and then nurse them back to health. They might do it. Alignment cannot be tied to one specific action.
Sure.
Or even the motivations behind one specific action. Like, that one particular act might be a good act or an evil act, but that doesn't mean that the person committing it is evil or good.
Yeah, the motivations of the act too can vary. So yes, the act of helping somebody who in need on the road is good, but if it's for the purposes of, I was like, okay, I'm going to ransom this person now. Right. Obviously this person is missing, so maybe I can get money for this or whatever.
Not only that, but I don't know, evil people have families too. If an evil person, hugs their child and tells them that they love them, is that a good act or is it just an act?
Right.
If a good person hugs and kisses their child and says they love them, you'll probably think, oh yeah, they're a good character. But an evil character can do that too.
Yeah.
Being evil doesn't mean that you don't. doesn't mean that you are a sociopath.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you don't have empathy for other people.
Sure.
You can have a group of friends and be an evil character. You can be a chaotic evil person. Chaotic evil doesn't mean insane.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't mean here's a bold statement.
Uh-oh.
Evil doesn't mean criminal.
Right. Yeah.
You can be evil and not even want to break the law.
Sure.
It might just mean that you're a jerk and you don't care about people.
Right. Yeah. But you still, like that's.
Or it might just
evil.
it might just be that you are just really selfish, I guess is what I meant to say.
Sure.
So for these specific questions, I think that necromancy is not in and of itself evil. In third edition, there was the stupid evil descriptor on certain spells, which meant that those spells were considered an evil act, which I think is kind of stupid.
That's a weird mechanic, and it's more just in the line of like, it's more of like it's an element. It's like
kind of
the element of fire and the element of evil.
Right.
Like it's just it was more just an extra thing to have a modifier, extra modifier.
Right. So in third edition, like it was an evil act to cast a lot of necromancy spells, but necromancy itself, I would posit, is not inherently evil. It is a tool like any other school of magic. Mm-hmm. If you use it for evil, it's evil. If you use it for good, it's good.
Yeah.
And then I feel like if a good character felt like a mercy killing was justified, they would do so. There is a huge spectrum of what could be considered good, and it is all based on context. Just because you believe that something is not good doesn't mean that it is or isn't good. Like culture has a lot of things that are good or evil based purely on abstract things that are just specific to that culture.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's that group of elves that they view necromancy as a good thing because you are helping your homeland by defending them after death.
Right.
There was one of the X-Men movies, there was like this Japanese guy that was trying to steal Wolverine's power so that he would never die and he would be able to defend his family's legacy forever. And some people would say that that's good. Other people would say that that is evil. So you can't really just take the act and say whether it is or isn't something a good character. You also can't say a good character wouldn't do this, because there's the fallacy, the true Scotsman fallacy. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but basically it's saying like, if you play D&D, you can't say no true role player would put their highest stat in strength or something. No true role player would put a dump stat in charisma. What you're saying is that you obviously are a true role player, and so your opinion of what a true role player is the only true role player. When that is above and beyond false, because you have one viewpoint of what a true role player is.
Right.
Someone else has a different viewpoint of what a true role player is. So why is your opinion any more valid than theirs?
Right.
You can't say, I view mercy killing as being evil, therefore it is evil.
Yeah.
Because someone else might be good and view it as good.
Right.
Is their opinion less valid than yours? If so, why? Why do you say that your opinion is more valid than someone else's?
Yeah. This is a having an argument like that. That's something that shouldn't be happening outside of the game. That should be something inside the game.
Absolutely. Good point.
Because two characters can be the same alignment but have completely different views.
Yes.
And like that's a cool thing. That is interparty conflict.
Ding
in one of the best ways, because it's like, I mean, it can bring your game to a screeching halt.
I suppose it can.
But I think that happens more when you're having the argument outside of the game.
Yes.
Because, if it's like you got two paladins, they're both lawful good, and one of them mercy kills and the other one doesn't think that was a great idea, that could be an interesting thing. It's just like, okay, this one is going to kill the guy because he doesn't want him to feel any more pain, and he's not long for this world. Put him out of his misery. The other guy's like, we have access to all these spells that can bring him back from the dead.
Sure.
And it's like, well, he didn't want that, so that could be an interesting story,
Yes.
So that's a fun thing that can happen, but it's, because the act of mercy killing, like you're killing somebody. So if it might not go by your code, but that doesn't mean it's not good.
Correct.
Or that it's bad.
Yeah. So, but these issues, it reminded me of a discussion I was having on Facebook a while ago, and I had a strong stance on this argument, but I think that there is you could make an argument otherwise. So let me try to set the thing. So I was saying that there was the question of like whether alignment is absolute or whether it is perceived. There's also kind of in the same sense is alignment based on actions or intent?
Sure.
Now, I said this when I was arguing with this person on Facebook, but I'll say it now. There is no satisfying answer for anyone.
Cool.
Like no matter what, every explanation of how alignment works or should work or whatever is going to have reasons why it doesn't work.
Right.
So you got to just go with the ones that feel the best. And so if you disagree with me, that's fine. I would love to hear if you do disagree. I would love to hear why. So just again, prefacing that with there are issues. I'll even point out the issues with my own side of this, and I'll point out the issues with the other. But I was saying that if an act is considered good or evil, I was saying that it should be based on your intent, whether you intended to do something that was good or evil, rather than what your actions actually were. My reason, here's why I said that. Because I don't think it's possible for a person to commit a good or evil act without knowing that they committed a good or evil act.
Sure.
If you say that alignment is based on actions, not intent. Let's say I walk up to someone's house because I want to kill that person. Let's say the door's already unlocked. I walk inside, they're asleep. I grab their neck and I start choking them, trying to kill them. Halfway through, I don't know, I have a blood sugar attack and I pass out and I am not able to kill them, even though I tried to.
Okay.
When I come to, I realize that they were actually choking at the time, and by strangling them, I saved their life.
Uh-huh.
But I was trying to kill them.
Okay.
Did I commit a good act? Because my action was unclogging the whatever they were choking on.
Right.
But my intent was murder.
Sure.
Is that a good act or is that an evil act? I would say that's an evil act.
Right.
Because my intent was to kill someone.
Uh-huh. It was, the unintended consequence was that their lives was saved.
Right.
But you were trying to kill them. You were
Right.
trying to harm them.
And
Gabe, stop going into people's houses.
I'm sorry. I wanted to murder him. So you run into the issue of like, if you tried to do something evil, but the end result was something good, did you commit an evil act or did you commit a good act? Similarly speaking, let's say, I'll use an example from popular fiction. Let's say I rob there was like some evil baron guy. I rob a bunch of money from him. I'm flying away on my ship and I accidentally drop a bunch of that money off of the ship and it lands in this town of poor people. The poor people get the money. They then use it to like buy freedom for themselves or whatever. And then they're free. They're happy. They view me as a hero. They build a statue of me and they make a song about me or whatever. Did I commit a good act by dropping the money? Something good came of it, but my intent was neutral.
Right.
I had no intent to drop that money. So is dropping the money a good act, an evil act, or neither? So I feel that your intent determines whether you're good or evil. However, then I feel like very few people would ever be evil, because how many people consider themselves evil? How many people consider their acts to be evil? Most people think if they're going to kill someone, they think it's because that person deserves to die.
Sure.
So then the question had to be asked, who decides whether something is good or evil? It can't purely be focused on the person. Because, I mean, and this also applies to lawful or chaotic, because I've said in the past that, like, I feel like anyone who does what they do for a reason, regardless of what that reason is, if they have a reason to do it, then that is lawful, even if somebody might say that what they're doing is chaotic. Because, like,
Right.
lawful doesn't mean that you're following the law. It can, but it means that you are following a personal code.
Yeah.
But then people bring up the argument, well, wouldn't everybody have a personal code? I do have a little bit of a rebuttal to that, but maybe I'll get to it later. I don't know. But so the question has to be asked, who decides if something is good or evil? Because a person never considers themselves evil. A person always thinks that what they're doing is for a reason or something. So who is the authority on alignment? Is it someone in game or is it someone out of game?
Right.
If it's someone out of game, which I think is probably like a little bit of an easier explanation, but then that means that a character being lawful in one game is going to be chaotic in another game purely based on the other people in the group.
Sure.
I don't think that someone else should be able to decide what my alignment is if I'm the one that interprets that alignment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe that's just the cost, is that you can't be 100% in charge of interpreting your own alignment. I don't know.
Yeah. There's the alignment that you write on your paper, and then there's the perceived alignment. And
I guess
having that difference, like, is all the more reason why like alignment's sort of like a silly mechanic.
It is, as a mechanic, it is silly,
and we've definitely talked about that before. And like I've said that like I see alignment more as just a guideline, for yourself, and then like a few of the editions, they added some mechanics to it, like you said with the third edition, like necromancy spells have the evil keyword or whatever.
I just had this thought, and I'll get back to what I was saying a moment ago in a little bit. So imagine alignment like if there was a spot on your character sheet that was your character's favorite color.
Right.
So I write down my character's favorite color is red.
Mm-hmm. Obviously.
Someone, if I'm playing the game and then I have my character like, oh, I'll buy that green shield you've got. Nobody can tell me, whoa, you wouldn't do that. Your favorite color is red. Right. Nobody can tell me your favorite color isn't red anymore because you bought that green shield.
Sure. Yeah.
Just because I like red doesn't mean I can't also have something that is green.
Right. Yeah. Because you bought that green shield. Now you can't use all of your red equipment.
Exactly. And if the DM says you've done a lot of pro-green things this session, your favorite color is no longer red. That is pointless because that's not going to change what colors I favor in the future.
Right.
What color is on my sheet does not determine my actions. That is just something that I try to keep in mind when thinking about what my character would do. Well, my character likes red. Maybe he would open the red door or whatever.
Sure.
So I think that's probably the least offensive way to look at alignment.
Sure.
Anyway, so I was saying, who is the authority on whether something is good or evil? Mm-hmm. Is it someone out of game or is it someone in game? If it's someone in game, I feel like that raises even more questions because this person that I was arguing with, like I said the question, like, who's the authority on what's good or evil? And they said, oh, the gods are. And I feel like that is such an incorrect answer because there are a lot of gods, all of which have wildly different personalities, wildly different values. Even among the good gods, they fight amongst each other. Among the evil gods, they fight amongst each other.
Yeah.
A good deity might say something is good. Another good deity might say that same thing is evil. An evil deity might say that same thing is good. Another evil deity might say that same thing is evil.
Yeah.
So if there is an authority, it cannot be the gods in your game world. Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose that can be an authority on something, but is alignment an absolute?
Yeah, I really don't think it is.
I mean, I feel like it is, but if it is, then how do you quantify it? And if it isn't, then what purpose does it serve?
Right. It's like, well, I feel like the authority of alignment is whatever actual authority is in the game. So like, if you do a thing in a town, mm-hmm. and then that town's authority thinks that action was evil, then that action was evil. You're going to pay the consequences of it for being evil.
I suppose that, like, to an extent in game, what alignment is written on your sheet is meaningless. It's all if you commit an action that someone else reacts to, then right. I mean, that's gonna have a reaction to it.
Yeah.
But
so the one on your sheet is for you and you alone.
Yeah.
It's more just there to remind you, like, hey, this is what my character is going to do. It's just to help you along. Mm-hmm. Perceived alignment is just all about what other players and other and like NPCs and what the DM perceives your actions of doing. So like, all right. So with necromancy again, mm-hmm. I mean, we more spoke in general that like, no, it's not evil.
Sure.
But maybe in the DM's world that they're playing in, maybe they've made their own campaign setting, it is evil. It's just a law of nature that type of spellcraft is just evil. It has connections to like another dimension that's just all filled with all evil beings that would destroy the world if you used it too much or something like that. So like it, so like in the perspective of that world, yes, it's evil. Or in a different world, mercy killing or killing of any kind whatsoever, other than killing monsters or something. I don't know.
Or maybe self-defense or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Like, so like if you kill anyone if you kill any other, like any NPC or player or something like that, that is just plain evil. Like that's just like everyone in that world agrees that is a bad thing for whatever reason. Like it could be some crazy far-fetched reason, but it just could be the campaign setting itself might play more into alignment and actions like that.
Yeah.
But I guess just in general, like it's just how the witness perceives it. So like the witness of that mercy killing might be like, that was a good thing. That guy was suffering, like that. He didn't have to suffer that for any longer. That was a good thing.
Yeah.
Or they could be like, why did you kill that guy? We have healing spells. Why wouldn't we just heal?
Right.
Like, you're a paladin. You have lay on hands. What did you do?
I forgot.
I lost my hands in the war.
Yeah.
Was that an evil war or a good war?
Yeah. So that's an interesting point that it could just be something that is campaign specific.
Yeah.
That's just, it feels odd to me because I feel like alignment is so, anytime you try to incorporate it into the narrative, anytime you try to incorporate it into like in game, it just ends up being weird. Sure. I feel like it works best as a metagame concept, but like I said, with the metagame concept, you run into issues. Nobody is ever going to consider themselves chaotic or evil. So, but there is chaotic evil. I'm not saying there isn't. So to some extent, it can't purely be based on the metagame. It can't purely be based on intent. But I don't know.
Because I think people can be aware that they're doing evil things, but they might be aware of it when they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, you do something because of emotion or something.
Yeah, and I mean, that's true. There have been times where I've been like, I shouldn't be doing this.
Right, yeah. Like, emotions get the best of you. You do a thing. Like, some people do hurt other people without meaning to.
Yeah.
They just got really angry and pushed them and they fell over and got hurt or something. And then immediately after, like, oh, I did a bad thing. Crap. Like, shoot, that was bad. I did an evil thing, And it's like, so is that an evil act if they did not mean to do it? So like meaning to do a bad thing but doing a good thing, or not meaning to do a bad thing and doing a bad thing, like, is that evil, or was it just an accident?
Yeah.
And again, that's more what the laws are, or what the perceiver think, like what the person witnessing it thinks,
Right. And like, I don't know, let's say a person's walking down the road and there's like a stick leaning up against a wall, and they're like, oh, that's going to fall and that's going to hurt somebody. So they like set it down on the ground, and then later on somebody trips over it and dies or something.
Right.
Did that person commit an evil act? Now, so like there's a TV show that I used to watch called Red Dwarf. It's a British sci-fi comedy show, and it's been going on for a long, long time. Anyway,
isn't it still going?
It is. They don't come out with episodes every year.
Sure.
But because I think they've come out with 12 seasons, I think. And it's been going on since like 1989 or something.
Okay.
Like they came out with an episode, a season every year for like a few years. Then they took a big hiatus and so on.
Right. Yeah. Because
British shows are weird.
Yeah, they're weird. And they refer to a season as a series.
Yeah.
Which is, I kind of understand that, because like, like, I don't know. It's just like a show that goes on for too many seasons can get kind of like lost. Like, yeah, it's just like lost.
I wasn't sure if you meant that literally or
no.
The name.
No, it's just like the main idea of the show can get lost, and then so treating each season like its own series. You don't have to. You don't have to tie everything together.
Sure.
Anyway.
Well, anyway, so there's an episode in an early season of that show. So the premise of the show is that Dave Lister is he's a technician on this spaceship that's out in space, and he gets put in stasis because he committed a crime. Basically, he snuck a cat on board, and he broke a rule, and then as punishment they put him in stasis, and he wouldn't get paid for the time he was in stasis. Mm-hmm. While he was in stasis, there's a radiation leak that killed everybody on the ship except him. The ship's computer, in order to keep him alive and to keep the radiation from spreading, just kind of headed out into deep space and waited out in deep space until the radiation had subsided, which was 3 million years. Okay. So the main character wakes up after 3 million years in stasis. He's, as far as he knows, the last human being alive. He's out in deep space. He's accompanied by a robot, a hologram of his dead bunkmate, and a creature that evolved from his cat, because his cat had kittens, those cats had kittens, and so on, until it evolved into a person. And so anyway, there's a point where they go to this, they're on this they find another ship. It's all empty, but it was a prison ship. They go onto this prison ship and they get subjected to this beam that analyzes whether they are guilty of a crime. Uh-huh. And they aren't, it lets them all through except the hologram of the main character's bunkmate, because he considers himself to have been responsible for the radiation leak that killed the entire crew. Whether he was in a position, in the end of the episode, they convince the ship's computer that there is no way he could have been responsible for that because he's such an imbecile. Nobody would have put him in charge of something that important.
Sure.
But it is based on his own guilt.
Right.
He feels like it is his fault everybody died. Therefore, the beam that analyzed him registered him as being guilty of all of these crimes. Similarly, there's another episode where they encounter this robot that has been traveling through time and judging each and every individual who has ever lived, judging them whether they deserve to have existed or not. If they don't deserve to have existed, he erases them from history and then replaces them with an alternate version of them from another universe or whatever. It's kind of complicated. Anyway, the main character ends up getting erased from history because he himself doesn't consider himself to have led a worthwhile life. It is not, and again, he is judged based on his own values and his own beliefs.
Sure.
And he does not meet his own requirements. The other character that felt himself responsible for killing all those people, he's face to face with another version of himself, and he's supposed to explain to himself why he deserves to live. And he says, I couldn't have done any better. I'm a failure, but I did everything I could have. Therefore, he passes. Whereas the main character doesn't pass because he doesn't even have an argument to justify himself. So, similar to alignment, could it be based on, again, it's kind of getting into what I was saying, like you can't have it purely based on your own character. I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, if your character doesn't feel like what they did was evil, is it more or less evil? Like if they didn't realize something was evil, does that change whether it was evil or not?
Right. Does that change their alignment?
I don't know. I guess that was a long tangent just kind of to reiterate what I said earlier. But alignment is a hard thing to quantify, and that's why a lot of people don't use it.
Yeah. Going back to the third edition stuff where it was more like an element or just another modifier. So somebody who is good does something that somebody else who is good thinks is evil.
Okay.
They go, okay, you're evil. So then they use a spell that works against evil creatures.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. And so that situation, makes me think. I was like, okay, what then? What would the caster think at that point?
Yeah.
It's wait a minute, so the act of casting this spell might change their worldview because okay, I perceive this person to be evil, so I shoot a thing at them that only hurts evil things, and it doesn't work. So they have to change their worldview to understand why that spell didn't work, or they have to trick themselves into thinking, oh, I just cast it wrong or something like that.
Well, what a lot of people do rather than change their worldview is say, oh, okay, well, the system is wrong.
Sure, right.
What I think is correct everybody else is wrong.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me of In Order of the Stick. There's a point where the characters, they think they've beaten the bad guy. They've been doing a bunch of stuff. They're traveling along. And then suddenly this woman shows up in this robe and this like cloak and these two swords. She attacks them, beats them all easily. And then her like hood gets knocked off. You realize that it's a woman. And then she's got the main character who's a lawful good fighter. He's down on the ground. She raises her sword and she yells, "Smite evil," and hits him. And then the next page starts and they're both like, "Oh, nothing happened." And then it's because, number one, he was wearing this thing that made him look evil under detect evil. But not only that, she's been following them for a long time, and based on all of the actions that they've committed, because they're adventurers.
Right, yeah.
They're adventurers. They do stuff that, if you look at it outside of context, looks pretty freaking evil.
Yeah.
She assumed him to be an evil character. But then she doesn't change her worldview, because, I mean, she's a paladin. She's not going to change her worldview just because one smite evil doesn't work. But I don't know. There's alignment is a difficult thing. Now, the thing is, in 5th edition, there are very, very few mechanics that have to deal with alignment. It is mostly fluff. Like, there isn't detect good or evil. It's like detect...
right, yeah.
Basically, it's like you like detect whether someone is an undead or outsider or something like that, or demon or devil or whatever.
Right.
But there are still some mechanics that are based on whether you are good or evil. There's like there are artifacts. Like there's the Book of Exalted Deeds and the Book of Vile Darkness are in 5th edition D&D, and they either function or don't function based on your alignment.
Huh.
I suppose in that case, the argument could be made that the authority is the book or whoever created the book. Being an artifact, it does have some degree of sentience in 5th edition.
Yeah.
So I suppose that is probably the best argument, the best answer that I can get. But it's just odd to me that in 5th edition, they've taken out so much of alignment so as to make it purely a role-playing feature, which I think is great. But then there are still some things that are based on alignment.
Yeah. I guess it really comes down to it's up to the DM.
I suppose,
because that could just be that'd be a neat little like throw your player for a loop thing. Like they're a good player, they're a good character, they have good alignment. They pick up the book of evil and it works for them, and they're like, why?
Yeah,
you know.
But then again, that feels like the DM saying, "Oh, you've done this thing, therefore I don't think that you're good." Is the DM allowed to dictate what my alignment is? If I'm the one that's interpreting my alignment? I don't know. I mean, maybe
for the sake of an interesting game, maybe. But
I suppose in that case, though, I would say maybe that's something that should be discussed in a session 0.
Sure.
Maybe that's when the DM should say, "Hey guys, this is how I view alignment. Play it however you want, but there may be a time where I will dictate something different."
Yeah.
You can still consider yourself good. I might consider you evil. I don't know. But that just feels weird to me. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It just feels weird.
It's weird. Yeah. It's it's a weird alignment is a weird subject.
It's a difficult thing, and I feel like every time a book comes out that mentions alignment, it like contradicts the previous book that came out that dealt with alignment.
Gabe, alignment is evil.
What?
Alignment, the concept of alignment is evil.
Okay. I can see that. It is really only brought up by people who are trying to tell you what you should or shouldn't be able to do.
It's evil. Smite evil only works on the concept of alignment.
There you go. There you go. Now I'm picturing someone smiting a giant text that says evil on it.
Yeah.
I'm picturing in Enter the Gungeon, there's the gun that is the letter R, and when you fire, it shoots a rapid fire of the letters that make up the word bullet.
Right.
Anyway, let me. All right. So in summary, I guess, I mean, the answer I'll give is no, I don't think necromancy is evil unless it is used for evil. However, a lot of uses for necromancy would be perceived as evil. But not all of them. There are a good amount of necromancy spells that do not involve animating the dead.
Sure, yeah.
Animating the dead is only a small subset of necromancy.
Yeah.
Like there false life is necromancy. It just gives you temporary hit points.
Right, yeah. How's that evil, you know?
Yeah. Plenty of necromancy spells just deal damage. They are just as evil as Fireball is evil. Now, I'm sure that they were probably asking, is animating the dead evil? Because that's what most people mean when they talk about necromancy.
Sure.
And again, I don't think it is evil in and of itself. If you subscribe to necromancy or to alignment being cultural based, then very likely it is evil. However, like Jeff said, not all cultures are going to view raising the dead as zombies as evil.
Right.
So if that's how you view it, then maybe necromancy is often evil, but not always.
Sure.
Not always.
Yeah.
And then is mercy killing something a good character would do? If they have legitimate reason to think so, yes. Because this is less about is mercy killing evil. It's is mercy killing something a good character would do.
Right.
A good character would commit an evil act if they had if they felt it was the right thing to do.
Sure. Yeah.
And so mercy killing, if they felt it was the right thing to do, then yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to answer the questions, that's those.
Yeah.
But then we also had that big long discussion about
alignment.
Yeah. So yeah, if anybody disagrees with anything I said, I would love to.
Right.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for questions. So I want you and me, Jeff. I want us to sit back, take a deep breath. Corpse dirt. I was in that grave.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was teleporting around.
Yeah, that's how you got here today. So.
Yes. So let's. I've got a grave underneath my computer or something.
Wait, what? Who's?
Shh. Anyway, so let's relax. Let's grab another log and toss it onto the funeral pyre. All right. Our story today was submitted by Jake on Facebook. Jake says, "My wife played a druid who was petrified in the jungle. The DM decided that her 90-pound wood elf now weighed thousands and thousands of pounds, so the party couldn't transport her, and she'd be weathered away too much to ever be revived if they brought someone who could cast stone to flesh on her."
Ugh.
Yeah. So that's kind of a dick move from the DM personally.
Right, that's a rough way to do that.
Yeah, I mean that sucks. Sucks to be her, I guess.
I thought before you finished it, I thought it was going to be like because it weighed so much in the jungle, it was all like mucky and swampy or something, and she just sank.
When I first read this, that's what I thought. That's where I thought it was going to.
It just sank into the mud or something.
Sank into the lightning sand.
Oh no. Oh.
Yes. So this was not Jake's character. It was so let's raise a glass in memory of Jake's petrified wife.
Oh no.
Too weathered to be retrieved. Clink. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for today. To submit questions for us to discuss, items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the funeral pyre, please email us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. For show notes, a running list of questions asked, and important links, go to interpartyconflict.com. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/interpartyconflict, or our subreddit at reddit.com/r/interpartyconflict, where I post weekly discussion questions for you. You can also find us on Twitter at InPartyConflict. We're on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, anywhere you download podcasts. Please rate, review, and subscribe, or just tell a friend. We have a Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/interpartyconflict, you can check out what rewards we have up there. We got a few different tiers. Even a single $1 a month will go towards making the show better, and you'll get some bonus rewards for it. Jeff, you want to tell us about FriendQuest?
FriendQuest is our YouTube channel where we play video games. We like dungeon games. So if anybody has suggestions, I think roguelikes are a really good way to go.
I've come to really like roguelikes lately.
Yeah, they're dungeon crawls and stuff like that. I mean, we could play Crawl soon.
We could. Crawl's a fun game. Justin was trying to get us to do Crawl.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And if you go to bit.ly/interpartyconflict, we have a short survey you can take. Just answer some questions about what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show. Takes just a couple of minutes, and then you'll get 2 free printable board games courtesy of Mary and Tom at hollandspiel.com. And our music is made by Boxcat Games from Nameless the Hacker's RPG. So, Jeff, until next time,
stay out of the graveyard.
I
don't know.
That's good.